These days, all you can see is siege reports, and it's all thanks to content creators. And the biggest KVK to date have shown that having a good positioning on the field with your siege marches can get you so much free KP that you don't know what to do with it. And I see a lot of people might jump on this train, and I just would like to have some words of precaution and sharing my thoughts on this siege meta, and down the line will I go to that same route as well. So I recently made like a funny show that everyone by 2026 will have a siege march, and there's gonna be some people left that are not gonna use it. So, and for some good reasons, I think the pros and cons of siege are definitely in favor of the pros. So, for example, you have a low entry when it comes to equipment and armaments relatively, especially equipment, because you can have so many options when it comes to equipment, because you can have so many good effective tiers. You can even go for this blue gathering set. It works just fine. You could go, I don't know, I don't think the epic one is good enough, but you can go for the legendary one, because it has march speed at 6 pieces, which is pretty good. You have some decent stats overall, and you can use this set when you're not fighting to get more resources from your pit march or whatever. But then you have the epic tier, and then you have, which is also quite good. It's not as expensive as potentially the legendary tier, but you also have the specific set legendary, which is probably going to give you the best results, but also going to be the highest amount of investment. So lots of choices and lots of good choices. Now the armaments obviously are always a lottery. You're never gonna get them easily. It's just all down to luck down the line. And as you can see, currently I have something like this, which is not terrible, but also not good, as I still have a blue piece. But recently I've been dispatching for V formation, just to have some options down the line if I decide to go this route. And as for investment, well, I saw Spartan Gaming, fellow content creator, have good reports and success with an epic commander like Narcissus with a 5511 Gonzalo, which is quite surprising in a way, but also not, because if you're not getting hit, if your positioning is good, you're gonna be able to farm good reports. So it's all down to positioning at the end of the day. And if you don't have the positioning, if you have a good gear, you just might not have a terrible report if you get swarmed down. So that is the pro and con of siege marches. You have to be very good with your positioning, and you have to rely on terrain, and you also have to rely on how effective your alliance mates or allies can actually hold off the enemy in the right place, so you can shoot them down freely. And that's especially the case in a place like Altar of Darkness, for example, or Ruined Fights, where you can only bring one march, and if you have a good foothold in the altar area, if you have a good barricade, and you have a good solid amount of marches protecting it, I think that is the best possible scenario. Obviously, down the line, it's not going to be great all the time, but you're going to be able to get good reports this way without doing too much of anything, really. You're just standing there. And honestly, when I think having one siege march is enough if you're not like a full-on siege guy, especially if you don't want to deteriorate from your field marches, which I would still say are the most important, because you need field for most things. You can't swarm flags with siege. You can't swarm. Can you swarm rallies? I don't know. I don't think you can. But even if you hit rallies with range, you're probably gonna get fucked. So probably not a good idea. So having one range march, I think for most players should be doable. This depends on how much you want to invest in it. But I think having siege march just for strategic purposes, like if you're in a pass opening, right? You don't want to use siege because there's a lot of marching involved. You need to find your place, and once you have like a good foothold and your territories are connecting to the enemy, you want to have a good secure area so you can swarm and rally the objective. That's the good place to do it. Obviously, the altar fights, like I mentioned, Kingsland, I would say not so much. Kingsland is all about speed, and it all depends on terrain. How long is it going to be going for? But it just adds some strategic depth. But I wouldn't go overboard with it. And also, here's why as well. Now, this might be a stretch, but I think it's worth noting. Because yesterday, when I logged in, I just saw this mail, like casually written that jumper groups are no longer possible. There's no regular migration, and that's a big deal. And it's I don't even know if it's been mentioned before, like in recent patch notes or developer talk, whatever. And having this come out of nowhere could happen something like Siege. They might just nerf Siege if they see too many people like just abusing it so much. If it really disrupts the whole ecosystem of fighting, this could happen down the line. So you might get rug pulled by Lilith just by having too many siege bars, just investment into it. It's just funny to think about, but it might be true down the line. You just don't know when, because at the time we don't really have too many counters to siege, and we know we have like a king skill that's it has a long cooldown, and once the effect goes out, you can still go relatively unpunished. So for me, it's kind of risky territory if you go beyond like one March siege, and if you go overboard with investment. But I think certainly having siege more down the line could be like a good accessory to your already established lineup. And I think I'm gonna treat it that way. I'm gonna slowly cook it. I have Gonzalo unlocked, and I've been 10 spilling the wheels and grabbing some sculptures from Alliance Mobilization. So I got them to 3. Maybe I do the Spartan Gaming route and I'm making 5-5-1-1 and use it with Narcissus. With some shitty armaments and the gathering gear. It could be a fun project down the line, but for this KVK, I'm not going to do it. I would rather do something more beneficial, and obviously I still need to work on things like the equipment, and I think I'm going to do it in the next off season, because I just need these 2 pieces to complete the 6-piece bonus, and gives you more march speed, and then maybe get lanes and a flag, and you're pretty much set. So what do you guys think about the siege? We're gonna go for it. We're gonna be building more than 1 siege march. Let me know in the comments down below. I just want to share some thoughts on this, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.